Come on.
Hey everybody, welcome to HBCU Conversations here on HBCU Game Day. Got a coach on the line now, and let's get to it. Coach Chennis Berry, he's the new head coach at Benedict College, the BC Tigers. Coach Berry, thank you so much for taking some time on this afternoon. And hey man, congratulations on the head coaching job. You're back in the SIAC.
Oh man, thanks a lot. First of all, for having me today. I'm very grateful of what you guys do with HBCU Game Day. And like you say, being a product of HBCU football, being a former player as well as being a coach for 25 years in this league, I'm just grateful for the marketing that you guys do for HBCU sports and HBCU football in general. But yeah, glad to be back in the SIAC. I spent some time as a player and a coach early in my career in the conference, and I'm just grateful to be back.
Hey, you were an all-conference lineman at Savannah State. Savannah State is back in the SIAC. Are you glad about that you'll get a chance to interact with your alma mater now that you're taking over at Benedict?
Oh, absolutely. I'm super excited about them coming back into the league, and they've done some really good things last year, and I'll get a chance to go back and see a lot of my friends and people that I help me through the process. So it's good to see Savannah State back, and I'm excited we actually played them down there this year, so I'm excited to get back and see some of my old classmates and people that helped mold me in my career.
Coach Berry, you were a bit of a late hire at Benedict. It's just the way the whole process worked out when they decided to move on from Coach White. You had a flurry of signings in the last week or so. What was it like, not only getting in there late, but then dealing with the restrictions and everything going on with the pandemic to still be able to get some players signed?
Well, I'll tell you what, our recruiting class has been amazing thus far. We just talk about controlling the controllables. And like you say, I was hired after signing day. So, I had to get in and assemble a staff first, and I was able to hire some great young men to be able to help me build the program and build our brand. And, we've had a really good week of signing. And it starts, I think anytime you talk about building a program, it starts with great, talking about building a village and building a program. And our village starts with amazing administration that really supports what we're trying to do in the vision that we have for the football program. And our president, Dr. Artis, is amazing. And, everything starts with her. And our chief of staff, Dr. Smith, she does an amazing job in assisting with whatever needs we have. And Dr. Lalonde, our vice president for enrollment management, these people at the top have been amazing in supporting our vision and what we want to do with the program. And also, you can't leave out our athletic director, Mr. Willie Washington. Those guys have really been great in supporting me and the vision that I have for the program. And it starts with recruiting. And you're talking about building the program and building young men. You're talking about, we always talk about the next 4 years of your life is going to set you up for the next 40. So our philosophy is we're going to chase A's, B's, championships, and degrees. That's what we're all about, and that's what we sell to our recruits. And we've so far been blessed to sign a total right now of 22 young men to national letters of intent, and we're probably going to secure about 8 more before it's all said and done for a total class of about 30.
Now, Coach, that's like you going into the Best Buy after the Christmas rush, and you come out with flat screens and headphones and iPads. How did you get such a crop after everybody had picked over it already?
I think it's just grateful, just for the young men that we've been able to sign within the last week has been phenomenal, and like I say, I go back to my coaching staff. I always give kudos to those guys first. Recruiting is about relationships, and my staff have done an amazing job in going out and building relationships with people all throughout the United States, especially in the Southeast. And for us to be able to sign the class that we've signed thus far, it's about relationships because, it's quiet as it kept. I mean, we're signing a lot of these kids sight unseen. I mean, these guys are really signing with Benedict without even, visiting the campus and getting a chance to do those typical things that you do in the normal recruiting cycle. But due to the pandemic, we had to adapt and overcome, and that's our philosophy. We just have to adapt and overcome and control what we can control. And what we've been able to control is having great relationships with people that we've had over the years, and between the state of South Carolina, which is a fertile recruiting ground, to where we signed some guys from the state of Georgia, we signed some guys from the state of Florida, we signed actually an amazing wide receiver from the state of Louisiana. We've just built relationships over the years and in the past, and was able to have those guys believe in us and believe in our vision and our program, and decided to come to Benedict College.
Can we envision these guys to kind of have that proverbial chip on the shoulder? Because not only were you hired late, then obviously these kids signed late. Is that a way to look at it? Is that fair?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. These kids, to be at this point in time, almost coming into the month of May, and still having an opportunity to sign a scholarship is really great for them. And like you say, those guys, might feel like they've been passed over by some FCS programs or some other Division II programs. So they may come in with that chip on their shoulder, ready to rock and roll and prove themselves on and off the field.
Well, Coach Berry, we're talking with Coach Chennis Berry. He's the new head coach at Benedict College, but he's not new to the game. Coach, you've been around looking over your resume. I'm probably going to leave somebody out, but you were at Fort Valley State. You were at Morris Brown, which, look, anytime you know anybody that coached at Morris Brown, that's like a trivia question.
Absolutely.
You've been at Kentucky State, Howard, Morgan State, North Carolina A&T, most recently Southern. So, man, you are HBCU through and through. What is it about our institutions that, for the past 25 years, you didn't want anything else, obviously?
I'm a firm believer in his God's will. I'm a server and a believer in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And it's his will. Of course, we all have aspirations to grow and prosper in this profession. But God's calling was for me to give back and have the coaching ministry in HBCU football. It's been great, and being able to mold men. I'm not in this profession to just win football games, which, we all try to win football games, but we want to win souls. You're dealing with 18 through 22, sometimes 23-year-old impressionable young men, and you want to make sure that you're able to provide a life after football. One lot of things we talk about is, those lives, those days after football. One day, only guarantee about this game of football that it's going to be over one day. And you have to be ready for the game of life. So we want to make sure that we prepare young men to be great fathers, great husbands, great ambassadors in the community. So, being able to be a product of HBCU football and now being a coach for 25 years and impacting young men. And when those young men call you back, 15, 20 years later, and now they're fathers, now they're husbands, now they're leaders in the community, that makes you feel proud of as a coach. Absolutely.
Well, Coach, this is probably one of the most anxious times for head coaches because you got guys on your team that are all over the place and they're not under your roof right now because of everything that's going on. How are you dealing with that, especially since a lot of the guys you really don't know that well? But right when you came in, it's like everything kind of hit the fan there. So how are you dealing with staying connected with all of your players wherever they are in their hometowns?
Absolutely. That's great that you talked about that. We just try to provide as much normalcy as possible. When I was hired on February 11th, one thing we wanted to do is try to change the mindset and get those young men believing and digging deep when adversity strikes. And, we had a lot of positive momentum, in the campus community and the community of Columbia, South Carolina as a whole, with the team. I mean, we had great off-season workouts, rocking and rolling. We had the young men sitting in the first 3 rows of the class. I was very visible, and our coaching staff was very visible on campus. So we had a lot of positive momentum going. And then all of a sudden, the pandemic struck. So, we can control. So although we're going through this pandemic, we are trying to provide as much normalcy with our young men as possible. So we meet daily as a coaching staff in terms of the Zoom app. I mean, we found a way with this Zoom app where we can not only meet as a coaching staff and make sure we're building our brand as a staff in terms of making sure that we're staying in tune with our guys in terms of position meetings, segment meetings, install meetings. We're having academic meetings via Zoom. So these are day-to-day process. And every Wednesday, we try to meet and have a team meeting via Zoom. And, as we're coming in the next coming weeks, I want to try to have, guest speakers come in on our team meetings just to talk about motivation and talk about adversity and just try to provide as much normalcy as possible. That's all we can do is control what we can control. And our young men have been amazing. We've had 100% attendance in our segment meetings and our position meetings and our staff meetings, as well as our team meetings. So our kids are chomping at the bit. They want direction. They want discipline. They want structure. They want organization. And we've been trying to provide that as a coaching staff at Benedict College.
I'm talking with Coach Chennis Berry. He's the new head coach at Benedict College. Coach, I can feel your energy through the phone. After this is over, man, I'm going to give you at least 25 push-ups here.
Absolutely.
I noticed when you got the job, I noticed on social media you were everywhere. I think you guys might have been at the University of South Carolina, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had your guys in the facility. I did not think it was Benedict, and I immediately said, "Where are they working out?" You really did just take off as soon as you got there.
And that goes back to my administration. We have an amazing president, Dr. Artis and Willie Washington. So we sat down and we talked about, being able to train at a world-class training facility to give our young men the opportunity to experience those type of things. As we're going through the process right now, I'm trying to building a new weight room there on campus, and we have the structure. We're just trying to get it housed with different equipment. Our president and our AD just got together and said, you know what, let's get our young men to train, and we have the momentum going. So we trained at this place called Apex. It's a training facility, which is about 5 minutes from our campus, and we took buses in the morning, and we trained. We had a group go at 6 o'clock in the morning with the bigs, the O-line, D-line, linebackers, tight ends, the front seven type guys. And then we had another group coming about 7:30 with the skill guys, all before classes start. So, just the support of the administration, believing in our vision, and we are adapting and overcoming until we get our world-class weight room built on campus.
Okay. Well, let me. I stand corrected. Shout out to Apex. Somebody told me you guys were hanging out with the Gamecocks. I knew you were somewhere though, looking at the photos.
Absolutely.
Coach, the NFL draft, as we talk tonight, this is pre-recorded, so by the time people see this, the draft could very well be over, but it starts tonight on Thursday. You have coached players who have made it to the pros. Can you tell while you have them in college that they have what it takes to make it to that level?
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer in be the best you can be at where you're at. Bloom where you're planted. And, a lot of times guys have aspirations to play major college football, because they look at the media attention and the TV and things of that nature. But you want to go somewhere where you can play and you can make a difference. So I've coached several young men throughout my career from Division II as well as from FCS football and HBCU that have made it onto the NFL and have productive careers. And through those processes, they want to go somewhere where they can be seen. And, a lot of times us as coaches, we all have aspirations as well to coach on that level. And at the end of the day, just bloom where you're planted and just be the best you can be at where you're at. I mean, they'll find you if you can play and you have the measurables that they're looking for, and they'll definitely find you. So you just want to make sure you're putting good film. You're a man of great character, because they don't want to just watch you on film. They want to see how you are off the field. So you have to keep your nose clean, doing the right things, and just try to win as off the field as well as on the field. We had a young man, Danny Johnson, that I recruited myself at Southern University. I talk about this young man all the time. I mean, he came in at Southern with the mindset that he had it all on his mind, that he wanted to make it to the next level. So from his freshman year to his senior year, he never lost a sprint in practice. He never made a B on his transcript. He was a guy who faced adversity as a coming into college with a son. He played his 4 years. Once he graduated, his son was already 5 years old. So he never made an excuse. So, from the time he stepped on campus, he was a starter. He was productive. And, he went on to have a great career at Southern, played in the Senior Bowl, as well as went to the NFL Combine up in Indianapolis. Now he's been playing 2 years in the National Football League, going into his third season, and a guy that just looked for an opportunity, but he had his mindset right once he hit campus.
Yeah, he was definitely a pleasure to watch out there for sure. A couple more questions before we let you go. I'm talking to Coach Chennis Berry from Benedict College. You got some kids that you're probably looking at who are coming up on their senior year in high school. You might be, I don't know, 60, 70, 80% in on them. You want to see one more year. If some of these schools, some of these states aren't able to play football this fall, we don't know. We can't control that. How would that affect you on the upcoming senior class that you're looking at and thinking about who to sign?
Well, like we always talk about, just being able to control what we can control. We're going to make a big push next week. We're going to be really starting our virtual recruiting in terms of getting information on rising seniors, like you say, the class of 21. So we'll be hitting the state of South Carolina hard first. And then obviously once we do that, we'll start getting to the other areas. But again, going back to controlling what they can control, what they have right now is their transcripts going up into their junior year. They also have film going up into their junior year. So you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. You just got to control what you can control and win the day, and just try to be the best you can be that day. So that's where we're at right now in terms of, going and trying to look at the class of 2021 as well as 2022. We want to try to get ahead, but that's where we are, and we can only control what we can control.
You are offensive lineman, a team captain, all conference at Savannah State. Does that kind of influence your recruiting and offensive philosophy of building from the inside out with your linemen?
Oh man, you my kind of guy, man. I'll tell you what, you're talking my kind of ball now, man. That, and that's my philosophy, 100%. We're going to build the core of our program. Anytime we're building a program, you have to start from the core, and the core to me is offensive line, defensive line, and quarterback. You can be real good or real bad without those positions. So we're going to make sure that we build it inside out, and our offensive line will be well coached. They'll be disciplined. They'll be big. They'll be physical. They'll be athletic. Our defensive line, they're going to put dents in the defense, try to get on the other side of football. They're going to be active. They're going to be big. They're going to be strong. They're going to be powerful. And our quarterback's going to be smart. They're going to be basically our quarterback will be an extension of the coaching staff. They're going to have to win and lead on the field as well as off the field. So we're going to build it from the core first, and I'm glad you said that. That's we're talking my kind of ball now, but the core of our team will be built from O-line, D-line, and quarterback.
Well, Coach, I have to be honest. I know next to nothing about football. I'm just a fan, but I have heard that saying plenty of times. And after looking at your resume, I had a feeling that things started for you from the center and worked out as opposed from the outside working in. Well,
absolutely.
Coach, it's been a pleasure. Benedict has been knocking on the door of a division championship the last few years. They've almost been there, so we wish you all the luck in the world and maybe taking it all the way in the SIAC on the east side. And welcome back to the conference. And fingers crossed, we'll have football this fall, and we look forward to covering you and seeing what you guys will put out on the field.
Hey, thank you so much for having us, and go Tigers.
All right, he's Coach Chennis Berry from Benedict College. You can subscribe to more videos, and you can subscribe to the HBCU Game Day YouTube channel as well. Just click on the screen and check out what we have to offer. You've been watching HBCU Conversations here on HBCU Game Day.